Hey everybody, if you have been wondering how to use essential oils for ADHD and other cognitive symptoms, then this is going to be the video for you. Hi, my name is Lisa Andy Garcia, and I'm an integrative developmental and educational specialist, and my focus is helping you reverse the learning and behavior challenges that your child is experiencing. So in this video, I'm going to cover different essential oils, their uses, and some of my favorite oils. Make sure first that you hit that subscribe button so you'll be the first to know when I post a new piece of content. All right, so if used carefully, you may very well find that essential oils enhances the focus in children with ADHD and attention issues. I remember I had a tenant once, several years ago, kind of before I got into any of this, but she I think she was a chemist for doTERRA, and I remember when they first came in, and my husband commented she had 5 children, they're little children, and he was like, they're all so really well behaved, and I think it's because she uses her oils very well. So it made me kind of motivated to learn a little bit more. I'm going to say I am not an expert in oils. I know enough to be a little bit dangerous with them, maybe. I like them. I learn more as I can, but I'm not an expert. So I'm just passing along the information that I know. But essential oils are made by distilling raw plant material using steam heat. The volatile compounds, which are the part of the plant that hold the aroma, they're vaporized using steam, and then they're recondensed into highly concentrated liquid. The scent of the essential oils is thought to stimulate the limbic system because out of all of our senses, the sense of smell goes straight to the limbic system and to the amygdala. And that's the part of the brain involved in memory, behavior, motivation, and emotion. Pure essential oils are quite strong and they need to be diffused or diluted. So usually using a mild base oil like fractionated coconut oil or almond oil to be so it's not so overwhelming or dangerous. Okay, so some oils can be placed directly on the skin, but usually it's just best to dilute it or to put it into a diffuser and it diffuses into the air. Electric or reed diffusers can disperse the scent of essential oils throughout a small room, while properly diluted essential oils can be applied to the skin in small amounts to maintain the desired effects. Different essential oils are thought to have different effects, and if you think about essential oil, everything in the world has a frequency, so each oil has its own frequency, and I think that that's a big part of why it's affecting what is affecting, because it's maybe resonating with that. So lavender oil, which is probably a very popular or well-known oil, I personally don't really like lavender. I think it's a little bit too strong. I like lavender, like smelling the plants, but I'm not necessarily a big fan of the oil. But it's one of the most commonly known oils, and I live here in Utah. Right next to Young Living and doTERRA and everywhere else, but the lavender farms for Young Living are probably about 45 minutes away from my house. Anyway, lavender oil is thought to produce a calming effect, which helps with sleep, panic attacks, and general anxiety. If you're going to put lavender oil in a bath, I would put 1 drop, because it can be really overwhelming, especially in that steam. Really blows up oil a little bit. So chamomile oil, in Mexico, if you're from Mexico, it's manzanilla, right? But chamomile oil is similarly thought to help manage anxiety and stress. I like chamomile better. I think it's more mild, and I'm used to drinking chamomile tea. However, people with ragweed allergies may also be allergic to chamomile, so I guess you better know that about yourself. Peppermint oil is thought to increase focus and promote wakefulness. So if any of you are in the classroom or you're you're kind of around education, you might know that peppermint oil is pretty stimulatory. In fact, sometimes schools and teachers are known to give peppermint candies right before a high stakes test. You can put peppermint oil like on a collar. The only problem is that the oil might stain your clothes, but putting peppermint oil just a tiny bit like around the collar where it can be smelled is good for being focused and alert. Orange oil is thought to help manage mood disorders and improve mood. Vetiver is sourced obviously from vetiver, which is a plant of Indian origin, and it's thought to contain properties that deliver relaxing and calming effects. Vetiver is going to be one of the oils that if you research ADHD, it's a commonly it's one that comes up all the time, and a lot of people will know to use vetiver. It encourages blood circulation and in turn promotes anxiety and stress relief. And in a 2015 animal-based research study, lab rats were subjected to vetiver essential oil inhalation to examine the oil's relaxative effects. And the research authors reported an anti-anxiety potential which surprisingly compares to the common pharmaceutical drug diazepam. I don't know about you, but I would way rather have be smelling vetiver than be taking diazepam. Diazepam's pretty gnarly. While there are limited studies to vetiver oil, particular benefit for managing ADHD, anecdotal reports and superficial studies commend its ability to relieve anxiety, restlessness, and other ADHD symptoms. Vetiver is, I guess we'll talk about it in a second when I get finished with this. Anyway, indeed, vetiver is worth a place among the best essential oils for ADHD, like I said, primarily for its relaxing effects and its ability to relieve anxiety and stress symptoms. What happens too is with ADHD is we have a poor communication between the back and the front, like the brainstem and the frontal cortex. And whenever you're under stress, we're restricting blood flow to the frontal cortex. So it makes sense that if vetiver's, what it's doing is increasing blood flow and reducing stress, then you're going to get that blood flow all the way to the frontal cortex, which is what the kids with ADHD really need. Frankincense is sourced from the boswellia tree. The sweet-smelling, musky scent of frankincense oil may deliver magical effects in improving focus and relaxation. The same properties may help curb the negative emotions commonly reported by ADHD patients. It's for focus, relaxation, and calm. Frankincense is really a healing oil and can be used on damaged nerves and spine. So frankincense probably was used in biblical times for a reason. And it really is you can put frankincense, if you have something going on, frankincense would be my go-to. Let's say I know I have a tumor, or I need to repair something or whatever. So frankincense is going to be probably my go-to. Sandalwood is another one. It is obtained from the root of and the wood of the East Indian sandalwood plant, and some of the studies reveal the therapeutic potentials of sandalwood, including anti-inflammatory properties. However, the sandalwood essential oil have been popularized as a tool to promote calm, relaxation, mental improvement, and ADHD patients. So I learned about sandalwood on a webinar once when we were learning about essential oils, and it was a group, and we look at a lot of people work with chakras and different energy areas, and they said that sandalwood was the one essential oil that if you put it on your head, that it just balances all your chakras. So sometimes if I have a client who's like really out of sorts, I'll get out my sandalwood. I will say and give you a disclaimer, sandalwood is a very expensive oil. And I think, if I'm recalling when I was looking it up, I think there's a different kinds. Like if you see one that's like really cheap and one that's not so cheap, it's the one that's not so cheap, that strain or that, I think it was when I was looking for sandalwood. Anyway, sandalwood is not expensive, so you buy just a really tiny bottle. It'll last you a long time because one drop will last you a long way. Anyway, I have this chart right here that what I like about this is there's a bunch of different oils here, and it'll tell you which what it does. So for example, if and this is more like kind of about the mind and the emotion. So the ones that are up here are more mental balancing. The ones that are down here are more grounding. The ones that are over on this side are more relaxing. And the ones on this side are more stimulating. And so depending on the quadrant, the ones that are right in the middle are vetiver, cedarwood, chamomile, and nard. I haven't heard of nard. But so those are the grounding, the oils that smell very musky or let's say like earthy, those are going to be your grounding. And then your stimulating one are going to be things like your citrus and your peppermint and your lemongrass. So anyway, if anybody wants a copy of this chart, I don't remember where it came from, but if you want a copy of it, then send me a private message and then I can send you a copy of that. My favorite line of oils is Vibrant Blue, because they have different blends for the brain. That's how I kind of got started. And so so they look like this. They're tiny, and I like it because they're in these blue bottles. One thing you have to know about essential oils is that you really need to keep them in. They need to be in dark glass and away from the sun. So when you store them, but so I have a couple different ones. This one is parasympathetic, so this is good for your parasympathetic system. This one, for example, is anti-inflammatory. This one, intestinal mucosa. So they have different ones for the brain and for different organs of the body. They have one, I have them over here. They have one for like gallbladder, for liver, and for different things. So this is my favorite line of oils. I really trust them, and I don't personally know the person who makes it, but I have followed her for a long time. I have had email correspondence with her, but she also does, she's kind of friends with some of the people that I know in the functional health and energy work. And then one of my other favorite oils is this. So for doTERRA, because I do live near doTERRA, the adaptive, we're talking about brain, but we're talking about ADHD and we're talking about emotions, and a lot of things that kids have is high anxiety, and adaptive is when I muscle test, this one comes up the most for kids who are have a lot of anxiety. And because an adaptogen, this is like an adaptogen helps you basically deal with stress and adapt to stress. So I will have, and this one's nice because it's already diffused and it's in a roll-on. So I will tell the moms, I'll test, but I'll either tell the moms to roll it right on their kidneys for their adrenals, because that's where all the stress and the cortisol is, on the back of the neck, on the bottom of the feet. Something like that. So this one is a really good one, or this Vibrant Blue oils. So in the description, I'm going to put a link for the Vibrant Blue oils, and but those are my absolute favorite. And then I just muscle test which oil somebody needs and where to put them. But again, most oils should be in carrier oils like fractionated coconut or other oils. So you can just get some empty containers. You can fill them up with oil and put some drops in it, or you can just Google some recipes if you want to do some blends. For the brain, the common areas are rubbing a drop on the back of the neck or behind the ear. because your vagus nerve actually is closest right here. So rubbing it like right there, or in the back of the ear, on the bottom of the feet, on the kidneys. A peppermint drop, again, can go near the collar, on the collar for smelling, but I would be careful. You don't want to put peppermint anywhere near, like on the forehead or anything, because it, like peppermint, if anybody has experience, it's very, I don't even know how to explain it, but it just, the fumes of it or whatever can get in your eyes and just irritate your eyes. So, all right, next video we are going to talk about primitive reflexes. Very different than essential oils, but that's what's going to come next. So please make sure you subscribe so you know when that video comes out.